Genesis 20. Abraham and Abimelech. Abraham journeyed to the southern region of the Negev and settled between Kadesh and Shur, eventually staying in the city of Gerar. While there, Abraham again said of Sarah, "She is my sister." So King Abimelech of Gerar sent for Sarah and took her into his household. But that night, God appeared to Abimelech in a dream and said, "You are as good as dead because of the woman you've taken. She is married." Startled, Abimelech responded, "Lord, would you really destroy an innocent nation? He told me she was his sister, and she herself said he was her brother. I did this with a clear conscience and clean hands." God replied in the dream, "Yes, I know you did this innocently, and I kept you from sinning against me. That's why I didn't let you touch her. But now return the man's wife. He is a prophet. He will pray for you, and you will live. But if you don't return her, you and all who belong to you will surely die." The next morning, Abimelech gathered all his officials and told them what had happened. They were terrified. Then he called Abraham and said, "What have you done to us? How have I wronged you that you would bring guilt on me and my kingdom? You've done something that should never be done. Why did you do this?" Abraham explained, "I thought, there's no fear of God in this place. They'll kill me to take my wife. Besides, she really is my sister, the daughter of my father, though not of my mother, and she became my wife. When God sent me away from my father's house, I told her, 'Show your love for me by telling everyone I'm your brother.'" So Abimelech gave Abraham sheep, cattle, and servants, and returned Sarah to him. He also said, "My land is open to you. Live wherever you like." To Sarah, Abimelech said, "I'm giving your brother 1,000 shekels of silver to compensate for this offense before everyone. You are fully cleared of any wrongdoing." Then Abraham prayed to God, and God healed Abimelech, his wife, and his female servants, so they could have children again. The Lord had closed all their wombs because of Sarah, Abraham's wife. Genesis 21. The birth of Isaac. As the Lord had promised, he was gracious to Sarah. At exactly the appointed time, she became pregnant and gave birth to a son for Abraham in his old age. Abraham named him Isaac. When Isaac was 8 days old, Abraham circumcised him in obedience to God's command. Abraham was 100 years old when Isaac was born. Sarah laughed with joy, saying, "God has brought me laughter, and everyone who hears will laugh with me. Who would have ever thought I'd nurse a child? Yet I've given Abraham a son in his old age." Hagar and Ishmael sent away. As Isaac grew and was eventually weaned, Abraham threw a great feast in celebration. But Sarah noticed Ishmael, the son born to Abraham by Hagar, the Egyptian slave, mocking during the festivities. Disturbed, she told Abraham, "Get rid of that slave woman and her son. He will never share the inheritance with my son, Isaac." This deeply troubled Abraham because Ishmael was his son. But God said, "Don't be distressed. Do as Sarah says, for it's through Isaac that your descendants will be named. But I will also make Ishmael into a great nation, because he is your offspring." So early the next morning, Abraham gave Hagar food and water, placed them on her shoulders, and sent her away with the boy. She wandered in the desert near Beersheba. When the water was gone, Hagar placed Ishmael under a bush and walked a short distance away, saying, "I can't bear to watch my son die." She sat down and wept. But God heard the boy crying, and an angel called to Hagar from heaven. "What troubles you, Hagar? Don't be afraid. God has heard the boy. Go to him and lift him up. I will make him into a great nation." Then God opened her eyes, and she saw well. She filled the skin with water and gave it to the boy. God stayed with Ishmael as he grew. He became a skilled archer and lived in the desert of Paran. Hagar found him a wife from Egypt. The treaty at Beersheba. Around that time, Abimelech the king and his military commander Phicol said to Abraham, "God is clearly with you in all you do. Swear to me now, before God, that you will never deceive me, my children, or descendants. Show us the same kindness I have shown you in this land." Abraham agreed and said, "I swear it." But then he brought up a dispute. Abimelech's servants had seized a well that Abraham had dug. Abimelech replied, "I had no idea this happened. You never told me, and I just found out today." To settle the matter, Abraham gave him sheep and cattle, and the two made a treaty. Abraham also set aside 7 ewe lambs, and Abimelech asked, "What do these mean?" Abraham said, "They are a witness that I dug this well. Accept them from me." So the place was named Beersheba, well of the oath, because they swore an oath there. After the agreement, Abimelech and Phicol returned to the land of the Philistines. Abraham stayed in Beersheba, planted a tamarisk tree, and there he called on the name of the Lord, the eternal God. He remained in that region for a long time. Genesis 22. Abraham tested. Sometime later, God decided to test Abraham's faith. Calling out to him, God said, "Abraham?" "Here I am," Abraham replied. God instructed, "Take your son, your only son Isaac, whom you love, and go to the region of Moriah. Sacrifice him there as a burnt offering on a mountain I will show you." Early the next morning, Abraham prepared for the journey. He loaded his donkey, took 2 servants, and his son Isaac. After cutting wood for the burnt offering, they set off to the place God had specified. On the 3rd day, Abraham saw their destination from a distance. He told his servants, "Stay here with the donkey while I and the boy go over there. We will worship and then return to you." Abraham placed the wood for the burnt offering on Isaac and carried the fire and knife himself. As they walked together, Isaac questioned, "Father?" "Yes, my son," Abraham replied. "The fire and wood are here," Isaac noted, "but where's the lamb for the burnt offering?" "God himself will provide the lamb for the burnt offering, my son," Abraham assured him, and they continued together. Upon reaching the designated place, Abraham built an altar and arranged the wood atop it. He bound Isaac and laid him on the altar. As he reached for the knife to slay his son, the angel of the Lord called out from heaven, "Abraham, Abraham." "Here I am," Abraham responded. The angel commanded, "Do not lay a hand on the boy. Now I know that you fear God, because you have not withheld your son, your only son, from me." Looking up, Abraham saw a ram caught by its horns in a thicket. He sacrificed it in place of Isaac, and he named the site, "The Lord will provide." Hence, to this day, it is said, "On the mountain of the Lord it will be provided." The angel of the Lord then addressed Abraham again, saying, "I swear by myself, declares the Lord, that because you have done this and not withheld your son, I will bless you abundantly. Your descendants will be as numerous as the stars in the sky and the sand on the seashore. They will possess the cities of their enemies, and through your offspring all nations on earth will be blessed, because you have obeyed me." Afterward, Abraham returned to his servants, and together they journeyed back to Beersheba, where Abraham continued to reside. Nahor's sons. Some time later, Abraham received news that Milcah had borne sons to his brother Nahor: Uz the firstborn, Buz his brother, Kemuel, father of Aram, Chesed, Hazo, Pildash, Jidlaph, and Bethuel. Bethuel was the father of Rebekah. Milcah bore these 8 sons to Abraham's brother Nahor. Additionally, his concubine Reumah had sons, Tebah, Gaham, Tahash, and Maacah. Genesis 23. The death of Sarah. Sarah lived to be 127 years old. She died at Kiriath Arba, that is, Hebron, in the land of Canaan, and Abraham went to mourn for her, weeping bitterly over the loss of his beloved wife. Rising from beside her, Abraham approached the Hittites and made his request known. He explained, "I am a foreigner and stranger among you. Sell me some property for a burial site here so I can bury my dead." The Hittites, recognizing his status as a mighty prince among them, replied warmly, "Bury your dead in the choicest of our tombs. None of us will refuse you his tomb for burying your dead." After bowing respectfully before the people, Abraham continued his plea. He asked them to help him intercede with Ephron son of Zohar, so that Ephron might sell him the cave of Machpelah, the cave at the end of a field that belonged to him. Abraham requested that Ephron sell the plot for the full market price as a burial site among the people. Ephron, who was seated among his kinsmen near the city gate, responded in the hearing of everyone. He offered the field and the cave within it, saying, "I give you the field, and I give you the cave that is in it. I give it to you in the presence of my people. Bury your dead." Still, Abraham insisted that he pay the appropriate price. Once more he bowed before the assembled Hittites and told Ephron, "I will pay the price of the field. Accept it from me so I can bury my dead there." Ephron countered, "The land is worth 400 shekels of silver, but what is that between you and me? Bury your dead." Accepting the terms, Abraham measured out for him 400 shekels of silver, according to the standard weight among the merchants. In the presence of all the Hittites who had gathered at the city gate, Ephron's field in Machpelah, near Mamre, along with the cave in it, and all the trees within its limits, was formally deeded to Abraham. Soon after, Abraham buried his wife Sarah in the cave of Machpelah, near Mamre, in Hebron, in the land of Canaan. Thus, the field and the cave within it were established as Abraham's property by the Hittites, serving as his chosen burial site. Genesis 24. Isaac and Rebekah. Abraham was now very old, and the Lord had blessed him in every way. He called his senior servant, the one who oversaw all his possessions, and said, "Put your hand under my thigh. I want you to swear by the Lord, the God of heaven and the God of earth, that you will not get a wife for my son from the daughters of the Canaanites among whom I am living. Instead, go to my country and my relatives to find a wife for my son Isaac." The servant asked, "What if the woman is unwilling to come back with me to this land? Shall I then take your son back to the country you came from?" But Abraham replied, "Do not take my son back there. The Lord, the God of heaven, who led me out of my father's household and native land, and promised me by oath to give this land to my offspring, will send his angel ahead of you. He will secure a wife for my son from my own relatives. However, if the woman does not yuan to come back with you, then you will be released from your oath to me." With that, the servant placed his hand under Abraham's thigh and swore to fulfill this task. The servant then set out, taking with him 10 of Abraham's camels, laden with all kinds of good things. He journeyed to Aram Naharaim, reaching the town of Nahor. There, he made the camels kneel near the well, just outside the town at the time when the women typically went out to draw water. Standing by the spring, he prayed, "Lord, God of my master Abraham, please make my journey successful today and show kindness to my master. I am standing beside this spring, and as the daughters of the townspeople come out to draw water, I ask that when I say to a young woman, 'Please let down your jar so I may have a drink,' and she responds, 'Drink, and I'll water your camels too,' that she be the one you have chosen for my master's son." Before he finished praying, Rebekah appeared, carrying her jar on her shoulder. She was the daughter of Bethuel, the son of Milcah, who was the wife of Abraham's brother Nahor. Rebekah was very beautiful and a virgin. No man had ever slept with her. She went down to the spring, filled her jar, and came back up. The servant hastened to meet her and said, "Please give me a little water from your jar." With kindness in her voice, she replied, "Drink, my lord," quickly lowering her jar to offer him a drink. After she had quenched his thirst, she added, "I will draw water for your camels too, until they have had enough to drink." Eagerly, she emptied her jar into the trough, dashed back to the well to refill it, and drew a sufficient amount for all the camels. The servant, silently observing, recognized in her actions the sign he had prayed for. After the camels had finished drinking, the servant took out a gold nose ring, weighing a beka, and 2 gold bracelets weighing 10 shekels. He then inquired, "Whose daughter are you? Is there room in your father's house for us to spend the night?" Rebekah replied that she was the daughter of Bethuel, the son born to Milcah and Nahor, and added that there was plenty of straw, fodder, and room for them to stay. Grateful for the kindness he had been shown, the man bowed down and worshipped the Lord, saying, "Praise be to the Lord, the God of my master Abraham, who has not forsaken his kindness and faithfulness to him. Truly, the Lord has led me to the house of my master's relatives." Rebekah immediately ran to inform her family. Her brother Laban hurried out to meet the servant at the spring. Seeing the gold nose ring and bracelets on his sister, and hearing her recount the details of the encounter, Laban invited the servant into his home, saying, "Come, you who are blessed by the Lord, why linger here? I have prepared food and a place for your camels." The servant and his accompanying men unloaded the camels, and they were given straw, fodder, and water to wash their feet. Although food was set before him, the servant insisted he would not eat until he had shared his message. He explained, "I am Abraham's servant. The Lord has blessed my master abundantly, making him very wealthy. He has given him sheep, cattle, silver, gold, servants, camels, and donkeys. Even more, my master's wife Sarah bore him a son in her old age, to whom he has provided everything he owns. I was commanded by my master not to choose a wife for his son from the Canaanite daughters among whom we live, but to go to my father's family, to my own clan, and find a wife for his son." Then he recounted the details of his prayer by the spring. "When I arrived today, I prayed, 'Lord God of my master Abraham, if it pleases you, grant success to my journey. I am standing beside this spring. If a young woman comes out for water, and I say, "Please let me drink a little water from your jar," and she replies, "Drink, and I'll water your camels too," then let her be the one chosen for my master's son." He continued, "Before I had finished praying in my heart, Rebekah appeared with her jar on her shoulder. From the moment I asked her for a drink, she lowered her jar and promised to water my camels. Then I asked her whose daughter she was, and she revealed that she was the daughter of Bethuel, son of Nahor, whom Milcah bore him. With gratitude and awe, he added, I then placed the ring on her nose and the bracelets on her arms, and I bowed down to worship the Lord, praising him for leading me on the right path to secure a wife from within the family. The servant concluded with the hope that if Laban and Bethuel were willing to show kindness and faithfulness, he would know which direction to take. Both Laban and Bethuel replied, "This is from the Lord. We can say nothing against it. Here is Rebekah. Take her and let her become your master's wife, as the Lord has directed." Upon hearing this, the servant bowed to the ground before the Lord, and presented Rebekah with gold and silver jewelry and fine clothing. He also gave costly gifts to her brother and mother. That evening, he and his men dined and drank together. The next morning, determined to carry on without delay, he asked to be sent on his way to his master. Her brother and mother, however, suggested that Rebekah remain with them for 10 days. But he replied, "Do not detain me now that the Lord has granted success to my journey. Send me on my way, so I may go to my master." They decided to call for Rebekah to ask her directly if she would go with him. And when they did, she said, "I will go." Thus, Rebekah was sent on her way along with her nurse, Abraham's servant, and his men, and her family blessed her, saying, "Our sister, may you increase to thousands upon thousands. May your offspring possess the cities of their enemies." Rebekah, with her attendants, mounted the camels and journeyed back with the servant. Meanwhile, Isaac, who had come from Bir Lahai Roi and was living in the Negev, went out one evening to meditate in the fields. As he looked up, he noticed camels approaching. At that moment, Rebekah, seeing Isaac from afar, dismounted and asked the servant, "Who is that man in the field coming to meet us?" The servant replied, "He is my master." Promptly Rebekah took her veil and covered herself. Later the servant recounted all the details of his journey and the events at the spring to Isaac. Moved by the news, Isaac brought Rebekah into the tent of his mother Sarah. He married her, and she became his wife, bringing him comfort after the loss of his mother.